Real threat to my life. They try to ambush me, they try to kill me. Intelligence report from Punjab police that they are planning to fire a rocket at your residence, they are trying to kidnap your sons. All that happened. I have gone through all that. Not bloodthirsty terrorists. This kind of approach is all right when you're dealing with the Fidain, when you're dealing with terrorists, when you're dealing with infiltrators. Fine, kill them. Don't give them any quarters. The police were used for purposes they were not meant.
These days there's a growing talk of urban Naxal, the same influence being pushed to cities, civil society.
No, there are some urban Naxals. I would not disagree with that.
Today on The Foggy Mirror, we are joined by a legendary police officer who has decades of experience in law enforcement and counterinsurgency. He has served India in the most turbulent places and times. Also, he is one of the most celebrated police officers this country has ever seen. Welcome Padma Shri IPS Prakash Singh to TFM. In this episode, we explore his relentless struggle for implementing police reforms in Indian policing system and discussing the urgent realities and challenges that India is facing in terms of the internal security challenges. Let's begin the episode. Truly an honor to have you on the show, Prakash sir. How are you?
Fine, thank you. Pleasure meeting you.
What keeps you busy these days?
Well, it's difficult to say what keeps me busy, but all I can say is that I'm busy around the year. So something or the other keeps on cropping up. And mostly related to media and public speaking on a variety of subjects. Police reforms mainly, then security related, Naxal problem, internal security, Northeast, like that.
Yeah. So let's begin with police reforms because that has been a subject that you have been advocating since last 3 decades. You took a bold step of filing a PIL in Supreme Court, 10 years, and then Supreme Court historic judgment with 7 directives for the states. But the states didn't comply. So a couple of questions that I have is, one, for our listeners and viewers, if you can just briefly make them understand that why India badly needs police reforms, and second, what has been the biggest roadblocks in this context for you?
Why India needs police reforms? You see, I'll have to take you back to 1857. You see, 1857, we all know there was a revolt across the country and there was an attempt to overthrow the British rule. Now, the revolt was crushed, no doubt.
The Sepoy mutiny was...
Mutiny is not the right word. I think the right word would be revolt, although some people call it the first war of India's independence. Well, call it by whatever name you like, but certainly not mutiny. So, the revolt was defeated, the princes were, the rebels were crushed, that's all, that's fine. But the British Empire was shaken and they felt that they need a force which should be at their beck and call across the country. And that is how the idea of having an Indian police came into being. And if you read the discussions before the promulgation of the Police Act of 1861, they clearly talk of a police force which will be, quote, politically useful, unquote. So that was the background in which they promulgated the Police Act of 1861, and they raised a force which would be at the beck and call of the imperial power, and that it would carry out their orders, right or wrong, legal or illegal. It would be completely at their command, under their thumb, and there'll be complete executive dominance of the police force. That is the kind of police force they raised. And it served the imperial interest fine. Because they were an imperial power and it served their interests. Yeah. But in 1947, when we got independence, I think it was necessary that the ethos of the police, the philosophy of the police, that should have been redefined. And we should have said that now it will be accountable, it will be answerable to the people of the country, to the laws of the land, to the constitution of the country. These things should have been emphasized. But that did not happen, unfortunately. Because I think the rulers were very hopeful, they were very optimistic that the same police force will now become nationalistic and it will deliver the goods and come up to the expectations of the people. That was the thought.
But without any structural changes, it was just an wish or hope.
It was just a hope that now that the Britishers are gone and now that we, we Indians are ruling the country, the police would change its attitude. That was some kind of an expectation. It is not there on record anywhere, but I'm just trying to give
Yeah, understood.
I'm trying to read the mind of the first generation of politicians. It is not that the hopes were belied. I would say the first generation of not only politicians, but first generation of police officers, even the second generation, they were, good people who were fired by fired by the ideal of serving the country and
The
taking the country
post-independence
forward.
thought process. Yeah.
But gradually, some kind of a symbiotic relationship, that is the term used by the National Police Commission. Some kind of a symbiotic relationship developed between the politicians and the police and the bureaucracy. And this was manifest in a very aggressive form in 1975 when the emergency was
Declared,
promulgated. During that period, you all know, police was misused and abused, and it was used to put behind bars just anyone opposed to the government. Left, right, and center, all kinds of things were done. Forced sterilizations were done under police supervision. A whole lot of buildings were demolished, etc., etc. So people saw the ugly face of the police, that here is a force which carries out the orders of the executive, howsoever wrong those may be. And I myself recall that we used to get lists from the central government, from the state government, about people who ought to be arrested. And we had no option but just to report compliance that yes, they have been arrested as per orders from Lucknow. So that kind of thing happened, and the Shah Commission later on in the report which they published, they said in as many words that the police were used for purposes they were not meant, and they behaved as if they were not accountable to anyone. And they also said that if a recurrence of this kind of tragedy is to be avoided, the police must be insulated from all external pressures. This was the finding of the Shah Commission. But the Shah Commission finding, and meanwhile the National Police Commission was also appointed by the Janata Party government, which had come into power after overthrowing Mrs. Indira Gandhi. They appointed the National Police Commission, and they submitted their report in 8 volumes, and very comprehensive reports, and they covered the entire gamut of police working. And the recommendations were very salutary, very, very pointed. And even to this day, what should be the police response in a given situation, we still refer to the National Police Commission. By and large, what they said during that period from 79 to 81, that was the period when the reports came one after the other, one volume after another. Whatever they said then, by and large, applies even today, with some changes, because the socio-economic context is changing very rapidly. So here and there, you have to tinker with it, you have to modify it, you have to amend it, and you have to read it in the present context. But by and large, whatever the recommendations they made then are valid even today. But the recommendations of the Shah Commission and the recommendations of the National Police Commission, all these were ignored by the government, because Mrs. Gandhi was soon after she came back to power herself. And so nothing really moved forward. Police remained as it is, and the kind of insulation it was recommended to be given, that was not given. And the National Police Commission reports were also very cosmetic treatment they got, because the central government, in the letter which they forwarded to the state governments, they said that attached to the report of the National Police Commission, however, the central government does not agree with A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H. They wrote a whole lot of things. Those states got the message that the center is not keen on the implementation of NPC recommendations, and the center has reservations on several issues which are actually very relevant and very vital. So the states also didn't bother to take the NPC recommendations seriously, and things continue to drag on as they are. Now, in my life as a police officer, I had all kinds of experiences, good and bad. But there were 2 experiences, two major setbacks in my professional career. When I felt insulted, I felt humiliated, and it was a very traumatic experience. I felt very bad, because I was punished for doing the right things. Very genuinely and conscientiously, I felt that I'm enforcing the rule of law, and I'm carrying out a crusade against corruption. I'm doing what is mandated by the Supreme Court, and yet I was punished on 2 occasions. As DIG Merit, the government of India got very annoyed with me, because, or to be specific, Chaudhry Charan Singh as Home Minister was very annoyed with me, because he found that a whole lot of people Actually, the mandate given to me was that because Chaudhry Charan Singh is the Home Minister of India and he's a stickler after honesty, and he would be very disappointed if you don't clean up the police administration. So, I mean, with a crusading spirit, I sort of punished several officers whom I found were corrupt and had taken money or had committed atrocities on people. I never bothered about what your cost is. I mean, it just happened that during that time with Charan Singh as the Home Minister, a whole lot of Jat officers from different parts of the state, they had managed to get their postings in Meerut range because they wanted to serve in areas close to their...
wanted to uphold integrity.
I wanted to uphold integrity. Not wanted, I was determined to uphold integrity at all costs without bothering about who the other person is. In the process, as I said, a whole lot of inspectors, sub-inspectors and inspectors were suspended. There were several cases where the SPs were reluctant to take action. I would, in those cases, say that if you are reluctant, you say that these are DIG's orders. Let the responsibility fall on me. So it became known across the Meerut range that DIG is uncompromising on corruption. But the people who got suspended, I mean, there was quite a number of them belonged to Jat community. Now, they were all Singhs. Mind you, Singh could be Rajput, Singh could be a backward caste also. But it so happened that quite a few of them were Jats, and they complained. They went in a group to the Home Minister and said that Prakash Singh is anti-Jat. You see, the Jat officers are being singled out in his drive against corruption, this, that.
Their own agenda they wanted to push.
So they had their own agenda. This is how they put the facts to the Home Minister. Now, the Home Minister was a great man. He was a great man, a very competent Home Minister. He had, I hold him in high esteem. But he was very gullible. जिसे कहते हैं हिंदी में कान के कच्चे थे. So, and anything said against the Jat community, he was willing to swallow. And he believed that, yes. So I was hauled up before him in the North Block.
Without any investigation?
Without any investigation. So I was asked to appear before him in the North Block of Government of India Home Ministry. I appeared before him and I found him very angry, and he kept on shouting at me without even asking anything. So, and he took certain names that you have punished this, you have punished this man. I said, in all the, whatever names he took, I said, this is their biodata, this is what they have done, and that's why they were punished. But he was not convinced. He was not prepared to listen to me. And after about, you can say 7-8 minutes of exchanges, hot from his side, very balanced and very polite and yet firm responses from my side. At the end of it, I said, I'm sorry, sir, I have nothing more to say. I just saluted and walked out. And I drove back to Meerut. But before I could reach Meerut, my transfer orders had been issued. But, transfer order is okay. I felt bad at getting the transfer order, but that was followed by another order for my suspension. I was told that the Home Minister had told the Chief Minister that Prakash Singh should be placed under suspension. Now, what happened thereafter was interesting, because the Chief Minister called the Chief Secretary and the Home Secretary of the state, कि Prakash Singh को suspend कर दीजिए. Now, they all knew me. उनका सब, but for what? They said for there are corruption charges against him. Now, they all knew that Prakash Singh may be faulted for A, B and C, but nobody can fault him for corruption. He's a very clean, straightforward and a man of integrity. So they said, they couldn't say that the charges must be wrong. They said, sir, charges, if there are any papers, you please give them to me. Chief Minister had a piece of paper. He gave them to, they read it and they knew that by reading a paper we can make out whether it has some credibility or it is just a false. They said, so we'll get this investigated by the Anti-Corruption Department. No, but the Chief Minister was in a hurry to report compliance to the Home Minister. He said, no, but इसमें तो देर हो जाएगी, आप इसको एक हफ्ते में कर दीजिए. तो ठीक है सर, एक हफ्ते में anti-corruption की जांच हो जाएगी. Now the anti-corruption unit was sent to me. They carried out all the inquiries and they found absolutely nothing, zero. Results were zero, and they reported कि सब इसमें जो कुछ भी लिखा है सब गलत है, कहीं कोई हमें सबूत नहीं मिलता. Now then the government didn't know what to do. Now at this stage, I would say some kind of divine help came to me. I had been earmarked for a course in the Australian Administrative Staff College at Mount Eliza. It's near Melbourne. So and in government, sometimes the left hand doesn't know what the right hand is doing. So while one wing was still calculating as to how to place it under suspension. Another department had sent a letter to me that you leave for you leave for Australia.
So basically no coordination was
there was
there.
no coordination. So I quietly packed my bags and left for Australia, and I was away for 4 months. And out of sight, out of mind, that kind of thing. And by the time I came back, things had cooled off.
Okay.
So that's how. But the fact that there are orders for my suspension, that caused me a lot of anguish and pain. So this was one bad experience. Similarly, when I was Director General Police UP, then also, you see, law and order was BJP government's greatest achievement. And Kalyan Singh used to boast of, he was the Chief Minister then, Bhay Mukt Samaj, or kuch aur kehte the, some kind of, but law and order, he used to say, is the greatest achievement of the
One of his
BJP government. And it so happened that in Lucknow there is a Hazrat Mahal Park. There was a public meeting in the Hazrat Mahal Park, and there he announced कि हम लोगों ने भय मुक्त समाज की स्थापना कर दी है. Yes, दंगा रहित प्रदेश, भय मुक्त समाज. So riot-free state and a society which is free from fear. We have established in UP. He says this in Hazrat Mahal Park, and 3 days later he orders my removal. For political reasons. For political reasons. There were several complicating factors. You see, the Babri Masjid controversy was hotting up. And somehow the politicians felt that Prakash Singh will not cooperate if and when they try to bring down the disputed structure. Because they knew that he would enforce the rule of law and he will go by what is by what the Supreme Court's directions are. This was their apprehension. I won't say it was a wrong apprehension. The apprehension was quite genuine. And there were several other factors also. The Home Department was very annoyed with me because you see, my style of functioning was that if you issue an order which is not in public interest, which is not practical, I would not comply with
But
it.
which is in fact a right thing to do.
I would not comply with it. But instead of just not complying, what I would do, also all those orders I would just keep in an almirah, kept in my room.
Okay.
And then I used to have midnight sessions with the Chief Minister. He used to call me when midnight sessions were only meant to discuss transfers and postings on the basis of recommendations received. Now, he used to get a whole lot of recommendations, so instead of just issuing orders on those, he would discuss them with me, and wherever we both would agree, those orders would be issued. I would also, on such occasions, carry files which I had received and which I thought did not deserve compliance. So once he had finished he said, I said, sir, मुझे भी कुछ बातें करना है. And I would place those files. I said, this is what the Home Minister's instructions are, and I disagree with it for reasons A, B, C, D, E.
Okay.
And I had no personal agenda. I would discuss purely on merits, purely on legality, and purely from the point of view of public interest. I had absolutely no personal agenda. The Chief Minister in 99% cases would agree with me, and he would say that, all right, you write back to the Home Ministry, that Home Department, that you have discussed this with the Chief Minister, and for reasons A, B, C, D, these orders may be withdrawn.
But just a normal citizen's questions. Can't the Chief Minister speak to the Home Minister directly? That why are you doing this?
No, he could, but because at midnight now you won't call somebody, he'll say that because this is on file, so you write that you have discussed this with the Chief Minister. And so I would send the file back. So the Home Department was very angry with me. He said कि अजीब डीजी है ये, इसको जब मर्जी होती है तो अब फॉलो करता है, जब मर्जी होती है तो नहीं फॉलो करता है, ये तो अपने मन का है, हमारी बात सुनता नहीं है. I mean, there was a distance, growing distance between me and the Home Department also.
उनके रास्ते का कांटा बन गया.
अच्छा, then the Secretary to Chief Minister was also unhappy with me because it's a long story, I will cut it short. There was an intelligence report which he had leaked out.
Okay.
And which had greatly embarrassed me. So I said, I knew who had done it, but I had to do everything properly and as per the prescribed procedure. So I got an FIR registered in the police station Hazratganj. This report has leaked and it amounts to breach of Official Secrets Act. So let it be investigated and then we'll do. Let us see. Let us know first. Now, once the report was registered, there was a flutter in the secretariat. And the secretary knew that चोर की दाढ़ी में तिनका जैसे करते हैं. He knew that he had done it, and he said, and they all knew that Prakash Singh can go to any extent. And he would not be bothered as long as he is enforcing the law and as long as he is following the prescribed procedure. So he got scared that I may be arrested. Maybe, if not today, maybe a week later. I mean, the Home Secretary and the Chief Minister both talked to the Chief Minister. He said, this man is this. They would have, what they said, I do not know, but I'm sure they poisoned his ears that he doesn't follow our directions, he's go against the state order, this, that, whatever, whatever. And then on Ayodhya issue, they had their apprehension. So all that combined, and Chief Minister issued my orders. Now, you say that law and order is a great achievement. You have a Bhay Mukta Samaj where the mafia, under my leadership and at my initiative for the first time in the state of Uttar Pradesh, there was a very sustained campaign against the mafia. And for the first time, mafia felt the force of law. And they were either behind bars or they had gone underground. They had just left the state.
But then you don't walk the talk as the Chief Minister.
So, while government was very happy with the law and order achievements, but all these factors, the Ayodhya controversy, the intelligence leakage, my not very happy relations with the Home Department, the Home and the Principal Secretary Home and the Principal Secretary Chief Minister both combining against me, all that led to, you can say, my downfall. And I was not. It could have been a dignified transfer order, but I was summarily dismissed. I mean, I was called at say about 11 o'clock. Given the transfer orders and told that I should hand over charge by 1:30. That means before lunchtime. I said, very well, I'll comply with it if that is the order. But I spoke to Kalyan Singh in Hindi. Sir, मैं बहुत अनुग्रहित हूँ. आपने मुझे राज्य सरकार की सेवा का मौका दिया. परंतु अब मैं भविष्य में पुलिस की सेवा नहीं करना चाहता. बहुत हो गया और मैं छुट्टी ले लूँगा और छुट्टी के कुछ दिनों बाद मैं आपको शायद अपना इस्तीफा भेज दूँगा. I don't want to serve government anymore. Because I felt so humiliated that here here you are trumpeting your achievement on the law and order front. Even today they are talking of good governance under Kalyan Singh. It is there in the papers because his anniversary is being celebrated. Who was responsible for that good governance? Mainly police, no other department. Even today, they are being talking about good governance due to strict enforcement of the rule of law by the DGP. I mean, I had several other achievements. Terrorism in Tarai was crushed by me, defeated by me within a space of one year. And mind you, it was a very serious manifestation of terrorism. I mean, in Punjab, if it was say 9.5 out of 10, here it was 4.5 out of 10. But it was very serious, and UP police just didn't know what to do with this. Their refrain was कि सर हम डकैती और मर्डर तो हम कर सकते हैं पर इसको क्या करें हमें समझ में नहीं आ रहा है.
But you have to take a lot of efforts.
But with my experience of handling Punjab terrorism and Assam terrorism, I knew, I said, don't worry, we'll do it. And we did it in just 1 year. Terrorism was wiped out. And the beauty of our operations was, the operations were clean. There were no allegations of false encounters. And there was no legacy of bitterness. The kind of legacy which you witnessed in Punjab. The terrorism was defeated in Punjab by Mr. Gill and his policemen. But it left a legacy of bitterness, and there were hundreds of cases of human rights abuses and extortion or grabbing of property by policemen. All that is probably, I don't know, some of those cases may still be going on. In UP, nothing of the kind happened. Once the terrorism was wiped out, people were happy that it's wiped out, and there were no cases pending. So all that I had done within a very short period, and then you say, and then you unceremoniously, when a DG hands over charge, you are given a date, you have a farewell dinners, you have farewell parade, you walk out of office in a dignified way. But I was just, you can say, dusted out of that. So that also, I felt very bad. So these bad experiences, merit experience and a DGP experience, set me thinking that all is not well. Mind you, even after disgrace, I came back as DGP UP. That's another story, but that's not relevant for the time being. So, these experiences set me thinking that there's something seriously wrong with the police and that needs to be addressed. Of course, we all knew that it is due to political interference, but then how to go about it? So I started reading all the reports which had been published. I had scanned them earlier also, but then I started reading between the lines very thoroughly, and then I prepared a petition on the basis of whatever I had read, especially all the 8 volumes of National Police Commission, and I prepared a petition which was filed in 1996 before the Supreme Court. So this was the background. I felt that now, the future generation of police officers should not have to undergo this kind of unhappy experience which I suffered. Unfortunately, it is continuing. But that was my motivation. And secondly, I said that this country needs a better police. Yeah. It needs a police which is friends of the people, which is people's police and not rulers' police. Yeah. And that transformation must come about, and somebody has to take the initiative. So that's why, and having exhausted all the means at my disposal while in service, I knew that this is the only option left, that I go to the Supreme Court, knock at their doors, and that is how I filed the petition. Initially there was a lot of euphoria and a lot of enthusiasm because after all somebody has taken the bull by the horns and something will happen. But as it happens, tariq per tariq, it kept on happening for 3-4 years. After that, people lost all hopes, and the police officer thought Prakash Singh is wasting his time. But I persevered. It became a lone battle, but I persevered, and ultimately at the end of 10 years, we got a landmark judgment. And now the struggle has gone on now for almost 19 years now. Now the struggle is for implementation. And your second question was, what is the obstacle? The obstacle is the political class, and 2, the bureaucracy. Together they constitute the executive. You see, the executive has got a stranglehold over the police. And if you expect, as I say, expecting the executive to endorse the police reforms dictated by the Supreme Court is like asking a zamindar to sign on the Zamindari Abolition Act.
Yes.
That he will never do. It gives him, the existing arrangement gives him power. It gives him power to sort of rule the police, do right roughshod over the police.
Why would they let go of the power?
And dictate terms to the police and use police for their political objectives, which is happening even today. The political class is opposed to it, and the bureaucracy, of course, toes their line. Yeah. Bureaucracy also has hold over the police, and they want the police to be under their, not thumb, but under their boots. So it's a very strong vested interest of the bureaucracy and the political class, and they are not prepared to sort of let it go. Although I must say, at the highest level, at the central level, Prime Minister Modi, for example, in 2014, he came up with a tremendous statement of that we need to have a smart police in the country. And by smart, it was an acronym by which he meant S for sensitive, M for mobile, A for accountable, R for responsive, T for techno-savvy. Now, if you combine all these factors, then to be able to combine all these factors, you need to reform. You can't have an accountable police just by merely saying it. Yeah. If you want to an accountable police, then you have to say that they should be accountable to the law of the land and not to the politician of the country. Broadly, they agree, but when it comes to the nitty-gritty and the details, nobody is prepared to endorse the principles initiated by me in the petition or the directions given by the Supreme Court. So that is the problem.
But what does the law of the land says? If Supreme Court issues directives, the states as their own whims and fancies, they can't or they won't comply.
No, so the states are bound to comply, but in this country, the bureaucracy and the political class have mastered the art of complying with on paper without translating that at the ground level.
Yeah, kind of giving excuses.
They have mastered the art. I see. If you go through the affidavits of the submitted by the states, you will get an impression as if they are all trying to follow the line. But this is what I have been telling the Supreme Court, that these are farcical affidavits. They are not whatever they have said is not reflected at the ground level. Besides, whatever orders they have passed, you see, the orders they have passed very cleverly. They say Supreme Court said State Security Commission. But they said a State Security Commission which will be evenly balanced between representatives from civil society and representatives from government. Evenly balanced. And from civil society, you will draw men of integrity, men who command respect for their impartiality, for their objectivity. How do they dilute it? Number one, they have a preponderance of government representatives, and then the representatives which they select from the civil society are known stooges of the government.
So trying to play around.
So मतलब आपने कह तो दिया कि हमने स्टेट सिक्योरिटी कमीशन बना दिया, पर सिक्योरिटी कमीशन का you have diluted the composition of the security commission. Then you have also curtailed the powers. Supreme Court said that whatever recommendations they make should be binding on the state government. They have said it will be recommendatory. Now, if it is recommendatory, you may as well not have the State Security Commission, because you will accept only those which suit you. So, if it is not binding, then you may as well disband the State Security Commission. So, they have diluted the composition, they have reduced the powers, and it's a farcical compliance of the Supreme Court directions under all the different headings, except separation of investigation from law and order. I mean, this is one direction where they all agree that yes, we need to separate investigation from law and order, but they all say that we need extra manpower for this. Yes, but why don't you have that manpower? On date, today there are 58,000 vacancies in police ranks across the country. These vacancies are not filled up, and they say we can't fill up because we don't have the money. And why don't you have the money? Because you are distributing revenues. You are spending money on schemes which you think will get you votes. Whatever you spend on police is spent on police.
Even there's political objectives and intervention.
So they are spending money on items which come either in the category of vote catching schemes or revenue distribution. For police, they have no money.
So corruption is a very sensitive but undeniable issue. But what are the drivers of corruption? Is it low salary, standard of living, or what is it?
No, I wouldn't say it's low salary. Corruption has become a way of life. And I would say, at least the present generation, they follow the Kaun Banega Crorepati culture. They want to become Crorepati overnight. I mean, I'm not against the show. I mean, I also appeared in the show once. That's a different matter. But of course, I gave all the money in charity. But people are, I mean, generally they want to become rich by shortcuts. By shortcuts. They don't have the time for hard work over a period of time. So, I mean, there was a time, I would say, how the pattern of crime has changed. Earlier it was theft and dacoity. Okay, we would deal with them. It was not a very big problem. But then came a stage when they started looting banks, because that was easier. एक बैंक को लूट लीजिए, कम कुछ नहीं कि 10 लाख तो मिल ही जाएगा, छोटा भी बैंक होगा तो भी. बैंक लूटिंग. फिर क्या हुआ? टेकिंग होस्टेजेस. किसी को किडनैप कर लीजिए और उसके बाद कहिए कि साहब आप 5 करोड़ लाइए, सेठ जी 5 करोड़ लाइए. That started happening. And now we are experiencing cyber frauds. Cyber. मतलब बैठे बैठाले आप अपने you play with your keyboard and you have deprived the other man of maybe 50 lakhs or 5 crores or whatever it may be. So the people want to get rich overnight, and the desire to follow the path of integrity, work hard over a period of time and earn genuine money, and then reach a certain status, that culture has almost disappeared. And for that, I will say essentially the politicians are to blame. You see, we have a very corrupt political system. The ADR reports say that, I mean, only yesterday I read that 33% of the chief ministers are corrupt. I mean, they have criminal cases against them. And members of parliament, I think 43 or 44%, they have a criminal background. Now, when this corruption in the political class or criminality in the political class, this has inspired others. Because a man becomes an MLA today, and within 3-4 hours he has got a bungalow, he has got an expensive car.
And many a times...
Mulayam Singh and his family, they used to ride on cycles. And today they have assets worth thousands of crores. Thousands, not hundreds, thousands of crores. How did they get this money?
Many times the gangsters even becomes MLA.
You know, they choose gangsters. I mean, when you choose a mafia, when you choose Mukhtari Ansari to contest, when you choose Shahabuddin to contest, what is the message you are sending? What is the message you are sending? And they say winnability. I don't, what do you mean by winnability? Winnability means फिर आप you have forgotten all the ethical principles, all the moral principles, and winnability becomes the main criteria. So corruption has become a way of life, and not because of this. I started from 350 rupees a salary in 1959. I mean, it may look a pathetic amount today, but I never felt कि हमें कोई पैसा कम मिल रहा है. I mean, those days, those 33 and 50 rupees were enough. And I was married also, but we never went to, I never went to my father or my father-in-law, भाई मेरे खर्चा नहीं चल रहा. We lived within 350 rupees. When I retired as Director General of Border Security Force, I was drawing Apex pay scale, which is the highest pay scale in Government of India, next only to the Cabinet Secretary and nobody else. And that was 8,000. And today I'm paying 12,000 to my cook. So, I mean, but even within 8,000, I used to feel that I have a lot of money and there's nothing to worry about. So the point I'm trying to convey is that government gives you enough for a decent living within your means. But if you become overambitious, overnight you want to have an AC, overnight you want to have a car to start with. I mean, I bought an AC after, I think, I could never buy an AC all my life. We lived, the first cooler was in 1980, which means about 21 years of service. I bought my first cooler. So, and then car took longer. And we were quite happy with that. There was no problem. I mean, and life went on. But these days, you start with a car, you start with an AC, you want to have, and by the time you have 10 years of service, you should have plots in 2-3 districts where you have served. Yeah. I mean, I had a house after I became an IG. So people, but these days people have become, you can say, worldly wise, or they have become, they are taking shortcuts to corruption, and nobody is short of money. I mean, salaries are very good. And in fact, my son, who also retired as a class 1 officer, he would tell me that, Papa, आप लोगों को जो facilities थे उससे कहीं ज़्यादा हम लोगों को मिल रही है, and we are getting this also, we are getting that also. I mean, he would tell me, because he knew what I had gone through and what he is getting, he could compare, and he would tell me that we are much better off than you were in your service. But I never complained that we are not being paid enough. And even today I will say, any government service who says that government is not paying me enough to live within my means, I would say he's a corrupt officer. He wants to live beyond his means, therefore he's saying that.
Yeah. You also stood by, I think, Anna Hazare for the early
Yes,
enactment
I was part of the anti-corruption movement for some time, but I found that Kejriwal never liked me.
And you would not be shocked to see him behind bars recently?
No, I was not shocked to see him behind bars. I think he got what he deserved. He never liked me. I mean, I don't know why. I mean, one reason I thought that he felt that here is a man who is also well known for his integrity, and if he is there, and he speaks as Hindi as well as I do, and he speaks better English than I do, तो कहीं ऐसा ना हो कि मुझसे आगे बढ़ जाए. Maybe, I don't know, but because he never liked me, so I said, मेरा कोई agenda नहीं है, I just wanted to strengthen his movement, but if he doesn't want me, I left it.
It was always in disguise. That is what you felt about him.
It was always in
disguise.
His integrity was more for show. You see, people who make a show of their integrity, I don't like them also. If you are a man of integrity, people will get to know that you are a man of integrity. You don't have to wear torn clothes for that. कपड़ा साफ सुथरा पहनिए. आप सरकार आपको इतना पैसा देती है कि आप साफ सुथरा कपड़ा पहन सकते हैं, अच्छा खाना खा सकते हैं, और एक एक भले आदमी की ज़िंदगी बिता सकते हैं. सरकार इतना पैसे देती है आपको.
So 5 years...
problem is when you want to show your wealth and your possessions.
Yeah, true. 5 years back, I was working under a major of Indian Army who told me about this value, integrity. He had a formula of integrity means what you think, what you say, and what you do has to be in sync. Not one of it has to be without any sync or alignment. But how does it differ in Indian Army versus the police? The same value is being taught and should be taught, but are not ingrained.
You see, Indian Army is totally insulated from exposure to public life. Totally insulated. So it's very easy to lead the kind of life you are leading. But here you are subject to so many pressures and vicious pressures, evil pressures, wrong pressures, political pressures, pressures from mafia, pressure from politicians, pressure from bureaucrats. It's a difficult life. It's a difficult life, and sometimes when you want to follow the right path, there are pressures that you deviate and you do this and you do that. That is where it's very difficult. I mean,
Understood. But what are the fundamental differences from a federal police to that of our policing system?
see, we don't have a federal police. Federal police, I mean, unless we can say the central police organizations like the CBI, the NIA, these are you can say federal agencies. But federal investigative police also you have, the NIA is there, CBI is there. They are federal investigating agencies, but their powers are circumscribed by the powers of the state. I mean, the state police is essentially a state subject. Police and law and order are state subjects under the Constitution. Though I have always felt that I think, you see, when in 1947 it was all right to take them as to place them in the state list.
Yeah.
But the dimensions of crime have now grown so vastly, so extensively. You see, earlier, I mean, what were the major crime? The biggest crime was dacoity. Dacoity, robbery, these were the biggest crimes. Now, these were generally limited to particular areas within a state, so the state police could handle it. But now, the dimensions of crime have changed. I mean, take drug trafficking. It will start from maybe Myanmar, come to Manipur. Maybe it will travel to Delhi. From Delhi it will travel to Mumbai. Mumbai to Central Asia. Central Asia to Latin America or North America. So drug trafficking is like that. Arms smuggling. They will prepare, they are manufacturing, there's a factory in Yunnan, province of China, which manufactures weapons only for insurgents in other countries. It doesn't bear any made in China mark. Now, those weapons you go to Bangkok. There are agents where you can place orders. All right, I want 100 AK-47 rifles. Now, those 100 AK-47 rifles would be smuggled by NSU and IM. NSU and IM will make further profit. They will say, 50 isme se bech do. 50 some will go to Bodo, some will go to Manipur, some will go to Mizoram. So, and then maybe some will find way to Naxals. So, arms smuggling is also, I mean, across the country. Similar cyber crime. Now, see, my point is that the dimensions of crime are becoming very complex, very extensive. They are not only interstate, they are international now. And we must bring police in the concurrent list to be able to deal with the multiple challenges and very complicated challenges which the law and order situation of the country is throwing up.
Yeah. Also the enforcement of rules, anything you want to do, your police force will be strong.
And the states, they always complain of budgetary constraints. Let it be in the concurrent list, and then the center can be liberal in grant of funds. Center will insist on certain yardsticks also. And then the center will have no excuse to say that, no, I can't implement police reforms because it is a state subject. Mind you, this is the greatest excuse today.
But how do you see in UP now under Yogi Adityanath?
Yogi Adityanath is a great man. I'm his great admirer. And in a country where politicians and there's hardly any difference between politicians and corruption. I mean, they all mix so well. He stands out as the cleanest chief minister in the country. I've seen him from very close quarters, and I can say that he has no personal agenda, no relations to influence him, nobody who could say that, yes, I'm very close to him. I mean, it's not that bureaucrats under him or politicians around him are honest, mind you. That they are carrying on their business, maybe in a very subtle way, very in a clever way. They're carrying on. But himself, he is absolutely clean, and nobody dare say कि हमें तो chief minister को भी पैसा देना पड़ता है. During that time, corruption was open, very much open.
Sir, what are the biggest challenges to India's internal security these days? Top two or
The
three?
biggest challenges would be, I would say, separatist and secessionist movements. Separatist movement in Kashmir. In the northeast, you have secessionist movements, you have separatist movements. It's a mix. But the secessionist groups, they all know that they cannot secede from India, but they still have this slogan of secession, and they use it just to extract as much concession out of government of India as possible. I mean, get a statehood or some less than that, union territory. So separatist and secessionist movement, these are the greatest threat. Second greatest threat, I would say, is the threat from terrorism, and especially the trans-border terrorist groups like Lashkar-e-Toiba, Jaish-e-Mohammed, Hezbollah Mujahideen. And then on the eastern flank, you have this, from Bangladesh, there are terrorist formations which are active in our northeastern states. This is, I would say, the second biggest threat. Third biggest threat is fundamentalist tendencies among certain communities. I mean, it was all right. I mean, we have different minority communities, but the minority communities that we dealt with and the kind of ideological shift which has taken place now. You see, ever since the Islamic State and Al Qaeda appeared on the world map, you see, the thinking among a section of the minorities is completely different. It's completely different. Earlier, it was just communal. I mean, we live separately, you live separately. I must have this, you must have that, etc., etc. But now, this concept of a caliphate and the loyalty to a caliphate or belief in a global Islamic empire,
The ISIS
where
ideology.
all other religions will be wiped out, and Islam alone would prevail. This kind of thinking, when you see that, when you hear that, it sets the alarm bell ringing. That now it is. I mean, we had seen Muslims of an earlier generation who were, I mean, they would be Indian, they would be patriotic Indian, but between the Hindus and Muslims there would be clashes. That's all right. But now they are thinking of. I mean, there is so much intolerance of other faiths, other religions, other communities, and this is happening among Muslims in a very big way, among Sikhs in a very small way. The Khalistan movement. It is still simmering in places like Canada. I'm sure, I mean, as I have written somewhere, Khalistan may become a reality in Canada, in a province of Canada, but it will never happen in India. This country has seen a lot of bloodshed, and it won't happen. The Sikh peasantry, the Sikh people would oppose it. The Sikh people within the country. So this kind of these fundamentalist traits, sometimes I really wonder whether this kind of thing would take the shape of a civilizational conflict in future. I mean, it's not good to be talking of civilizational conflict, but when one party talks of a global caliphate, and where it talks of exterminating all the other groups, then you really feel worried. How are you going to integrate them? I mean, you can integrate someone who is, close to the borderline, but someone who has crossed the borderline and is taking a totally adversarial view. It becomes very difficult, and I really feel worried at this kind of thinking, which, and I'm sure the moderate Muslims, the right-thinking Muslims, they also must be very worried over this development. The philosophy being propagated by the Islamic State and the Al Qaeda and several other splinter groups in different areas, which draw inspiration from these formations.
Do you agree that there's a deep state, or the Pakistan, Chinese, American deep state trying to destabilize India in these ways?
It is being talked about. Only yesterday I saw Arnab's video on this also. Maybe he is overstating it, but you never know. I mean, there could be undercurrents, because some of the American spokesmen, the way they are talking, I mean, I heard one American spokesman saying that if India wants to be a strategic ally, it should behave like one. Now, what do you mean by behaving like it?
Why should
Do
you
you want a
behave?
strategic ally or you want a strategic slave?
Yeah.
That is what you want. You don't want a strategic ally means equal partners. You can't dictate terms to me that I buy this or I buy that. I mean, we should have a common enemy or we should have a ideological unity. Now, the way they are talking, sometimes I wonder. And see, US has been notorious for toppling governments in the past, of assassinating leaders of different countries. Bangladesh upheaval has been acknowledged by them. There is a video which shows, and they have openly said that this is how it was planned. Now, they have done this in Bangladesh, and I mean, I would be very sorry if they are planning like that, because they can't execute that in India, and they will only drive India into the other camp and weaken their own.
So, what about Punjab? During your days, in your experience, have you seen real infiltration, drug peddling being backed by Pakistan into Punjab?
You see, what we saw in Punjab, it was not drug peddling so much. Gold smuggling was a huge problem during those days, which we stopped. Gold smuggling was a huge problem. And drug peddling had not assumed such serious dimensions as you see today. Drug peddling, we didn't hear many drug peddlers, but gold smuggling was a huge problem. But of course, when I was in Punjab as Inspector General BSF, terrorism was the biggest problem, and it was the greatest threat to the country's internal security at that time, and it was a far bigger problem than what Kashmir is today. In fact, there was a problem every day. There was a challenge every day, and if you read the writings of Shekhar Gupta and Vipul Mudgal, what they wrote those years, I mean, it's a very grim scenario. I have seen that. I have lived in that area, lived in those times, so I know how grim the scenario was. As I say, I mean, every time, I mean, our campus, we had BSF campus was in Jalandhar, and it was very well fortified campus. You could not break into it. But every time I moved out of the campus and was out in the on the highway and driving through villages and countryside, I mean, I knew that anything can happen any day. Anything can happen any day. I knew that. And there were areas which were ambush prone, and there were times which are ambush prone. I mean, sunset time is ideal for an ambush. Because you commit an ambush and then you disappear in the darkness of night. By the time reinforcements come, it is night. So I mean, whenever I was driving on such occasions, two things I used to do. My carbine would be fully charged, and in एक हाथ में carbine रहती थी, and then I used to tell the driver, कैसेट लगा दो. उन दिनों कैसेट होता था. कैसेट में कोई भक्ति का गाना लगा दो, भगवान का नाम बजता रहे, so that even if I have to die, I am hearing the name of God during my last breath, and I die fighting. The carbine is in my hands. So I mean, this used to be my wish during those hours when I knew that I could be ambushed any second. I mean, a bullet could be fired at me or an IED could explode anywhere. When you have that kind of feeling, I mean, just try to imagine the state of your mind.
Must be a very difficult posting, at least from your family's perspective.
There was a real threat to my life, and they tried to ambush me, they tried to kill me. In fact, there was an intelligence report from Punjab police that they are planning to fire a rocket at your residence, they are trying to kidnap your sons. All that happened. I mean, I have gone through all that.
Okay. So now let's move to the Naxal movement. So, sir, if you can just briefly explain what is a Maoist ideology, and has it evolved since the Charu Mazumdar days until now, or is it the same, or is it diluted somewhere?
But it has evolved. But now, mind you, Charu Mazumdar also, I have met Charu Mazumdar, I have seen him, I have studied him, and I admired him in a way that, look, you may politically disagree with him, but you have to admire the man that he is a lean and thin man, so fragile. अब उसको बस इतना सा जरा सा धक्का दे दीजिए वो गिर जाएगा. अच्छा. And he used to, I mean, himself take insulin injections every day. He was a very emaciated, lean, thin, fragile man. But the fire in his belly, that is what impressed me. Okay. कि देखो इतना कमज़ोर आदमी भी इसके अंदर कितना जोश हो सकता है. And then he was traveling across the country and spreading his venomous theory everywhere, and it was attracting the youth of the country. from Delhi, students from St. Stephen's College, Miranda College, boys and girls, they left their studies, they left their homes. They were sons and daughters of IAS officers. They went to Bihar, somebody went to Bengal to work among the peasantry and bring about a revolution in the country. I've seen those days myself. And but Charu Mazumdar also made several, he didn't have the breadth of vision. For example, when he said, declare the 70s the decade of liberation. He said that in the 70s decade we will liberate India. Now that was too ambitious a target, too ambitious a target to achieve, and he had not calculated on the strength of the Indian state, how strong it is, and when the state really goes after you, there's just no getting away. So, and then his call for annihilation of class enemies. Now, who were the class enemies? Of course, he defined class enemies as landlords and those who are extorting money and exploiting the poor. But in that process, a whole lot of people were killed, and the orgy of violence which we saw. People were antagonized. People were antagonized, and violence was indiscriminate. Violence was indiscriminate. So, and then the greatest mistake which he made was when he said China's chairman is our chairman and China's path is our path.
Okay.
So that caused a split in the party. How can China's chairman be your chairman? And in fact, as I know, a delegation of Naxal leaders had gone to China led by Soren Bose. And there, the report says, it's not very authentic, but the report says that even Mao told them that this is a wrong slogan. Don't say China's chairman is our chairman. You have to find a chairman from your country.
Of course.
You can't import a chairman. So you have to find a chairman from your country. So he made a number of mistakes. Annihilation of class enemies, decade of liberation, 70s makes it the decade of liberation, China's chairman is our chairman. All those mistakes which made, and because of those mistakes, and partly also because of the police action which was taken subsequently, the party got splintered, and it almost broke up. And government, of course, thought that we have dealt with the Naxal movement and it's the end of the road for them. But subsequently, in 1980, the movement was revived by Kondapalli Sitaramaiah, and he again gave a new lease of life to it. But then Kondapalli Sitaramaiah also got arrested. He was also put out of action. And then in 2004, the Maoist Communist Center and the PW, they combined, and they formed the Communist Party of India, Maoist. No, I don't think Communist Party of India Maoist, formation of Communist Party of India Maoist was also a very good step. In fact, I remember among the Naxals I interrogated, one man was Ram Pyara Saraf. He was in charge of the northern India. During interrogation, one thing which he said stuck in my mind.
What was that?
He said that the Mahabharata was a battle for land. इसे दुर्योधन ने सेट कि हम तुम्हें एक सुई की नोक बराबर जमीन नहीं देंगे. पांडवों ने कहा था हमें हमारा राज चाहिए, हमें 5 गांव दे दो, हमें थोड़ी जमीन दे दो. जमीन नहीं मिली, इसलिए he said that was the first battle for land, and that battle for land is what we Naxals are fighting for. So if I were in their place, I would have said, you borrow a hero from Mahabharata, make Lord Krishna your ideal. He inspired the Pandavas to fight for their right claim over land. But you see, that is my way of looking at it. But the way that they looked at the movement and giving it a Maoist orientation, why give it a Maoist orientation? Any movement to be successful must draw inspiration from the soil of the land.
Yeah.
Whatever culture we belong to. If you draw inspiration, otherwise, if you talk to the Naxals today, Marxism, Leninism means nothing to them. They don't understand this abracadabra. What is this Marxism, Leninism?
And this
all they know is, मेरी जमीन चली गई, मेरी जमीन ले लिया सरकार ने, मुझको कंपनसेशन नहीं दिया. आप कह लें कि आप आ जाओ मेरे पास, तुमको एक राइफल देते हैं और तुमको खाने पीने का देंगे. ठीक है, I need a source of livelihood. You have given me that, and I am angry with the government of India. Therefore, I become a Naxal. So for him it is as simple as that. आपने हमारी ज़मीन ले ली है, हमको बेदखल कर दिया, हमको रिहेबिलिटेट नहीं किया है, ये आदमी हमको खाने पीने को दे रहा है हमको, और हम नक्सल बन गए तो हमको गांव में इज्जत मिलती है, लोग हमसे डरते हैं, अब हमारी एक स्टेटस भी हो गई, तो हम क्यों इस तरह रहें, हम भूखे भूखे प्यासे क्यों मरें।
ये नक्सल मूवमेंट तो एग्जिस्ट ही नहीं करता अगर सोशियो इकोनॉमिक कंडीशंस गवर्नमेंट देखती पहले।
सोशियो इकोनॉमिक कंडीशंस अगर ठीक रहती तो नक्सल मूवमेंट नहीं होता। इसी दैट्स व्हाई आई कीप ऑन सेइंग दैट वी नीड टू गो टू द रूट ऑफ द प्रॉब्लम, एंड इवन टुडे फॉर एग्जांपल Amit Shah is going hammer and tongs against
we'll wipe out Naxalism in 5
and
years.
in fact I have in several articles I have written that Amit Shah can achieve the same objective by a different strategy. My approach is that you declare a unilateral ceasefire for 1 month or 2 months. See, it will not be a sign of weakness. You are right on top of the movement. And they are just gasping for breath, gasping for oxygen. So, and say that during these 2 months you come overground, and this is the rehabilitation scheme. This is how we will rehabilitate you. This is how you will be granted some land, some job, whatever it is. If you follow this, now Naxals are at their wits' ends today. They know that we are going to be finished. They will, if you declare this, I would say that probably 1,000 or 1,500 people will come over ground.
Give up the arms.
Give up their arms and they say तुम्हारी ऐसी की तैसी भैया हम जा रहे हैं, सरकार हमको ज़मीन दे रही है, पैसे दे रही है, हमें रोज़गार दे रही है.
So that's not on the cards with Amit.
That's not on the cards. I mean, it doesn't appeal to government. They say we will just exterminate you. And they say that yes, they can now come over ground and surrender. But like that, coming over ground and surrender, that they will not do. That they will not do. Because then they run the risk of being killed by the Naxals also, and you don't know what the government, what will be your fate. A magnanimous approach. Because then who are these? I mean, whom are we exterminating?
These are our people.
Whom are we exterminating? Not bloodthirsty terrorists. I mean, this kind of approach is all right when you're dealing with the Fidain, when you're dealing with terrorists, when you're dealing with infiltrators. Fine, kill them. Don't give them any quarters. Don't arrest them, just finish them. But these are misguided youth, poor people, landless people who have taken up arms probably in sheer desperation, who have taken up arms because they have a grudge against the government, right or wrong. But they have a grudge against the government. They were misled by people. No, you come to us and we will give you liberation. We'll get you land. So, I mean, they require a different kind of treatment. Because they don't have a voice and there's nobody to take up their cause. Government is going hammer and tongs. I have my disagreement with the Home Ministry on this point, but nobody listens to me. I have conveyed this in as many words as I could through my writings and oral conversation, but no, there are no takers for my approach.
These days there's a growing talk of urban Naxal, the same influence being pushed to cities, civil society.
No, there are some urban Naxals. I would not disagree with that. But this tag should not be used to tarnish the image of good people who give you the right advice on the Naxal problem. There are urban Naxals. I am not denying the intellectual support is from urban areas only. And all the voluminous documents and the learned Naxal philosophy or the Maoist philosophy which they write, it all comes from some college, some university, somewhere, I don't know. So urban Naxals are there, but this tag is unfortunately used to tar sometimes the opposition or people you don't like with that brush, which is not fair.
Understood. Sir, how does this dynamics of Naxal belts vary from state to state?
Naxal?
Belts. Like
Belt.
we have Jharkhand, Chhattisgarh. So
yes.
What are the different? Are the dynamics different?
Dynamics is different. Yes, you see, it all depends on the local leaders, to what extent they took up the cause. It started from the Telangana area. That was the hotbed of Naxal movement. Then it spread gradually to other parts of Andhra Pradesh. And from Andhra Pradesh, of course, the intellectual support has always come from the Telugus. And the foot soldiers are just anywhere, Jharkhand, Chhattisgarh, and West Bengal, Odisha. It comes from the tribal belt, or you can say backward areas, forested areas. That is where the foot soldiers come from. And following in a particular state has generally depended on what kind of leader they found in that area and what kind of image that leader had, and what kind of popularity he had.
Sir, as a leader of police force, there must be many a times when the morale of the force is down. How did you motivate any such instances?
Motivate, though motivation is difficult, but trying to uphold or protect their interest. For example, Bengaluru, this Stampede happened, and all the entire top brass was placed under suspension. I mean, I approached the associations, IPS associations to take it up, but I found they were reluctant, or they were dragging their feet. Then I circulated a note that we'll send a letter. I took lead in that, and I found that there was a lot of support. So we prepared a draft. I prepared a draft memorandum. It was circulated, approved by the people, and then about 30, 40, I think more than that. About 50 odd officers signed that petition, and we sent that to the Chief Minister. No, the Chief Minister listened. Whether he cared to read it carefully, I don't know. But it was certainly sent to the Chief Minister. It was also circulated in the police fraternity, not only in Bangalore, but in other states also. So whenever police morale is hit, I try to do whatever I can, but my resources are very limited. I was chairman of the Police Foundation for 5 years. Then I gave up. I resigned from that also. They wanted me to continue, but I resigned. I said, look, 5 years is enough, and I think I should give chance to others also, and I should hand over the baton. So I handed over. So now the Police Foundation is not under my direct command, although they have kept me as patron, but it's not under my direct command. Some people call me a one-man army. I don't know whether that's right or wrong, but people say that Prakash Singh is a one-man army. If he takes up a cause, there are others to follow.
Got it. Is there any proudest moment in your professional career? Which one is the proudest moment in your career?
Proudest moment in my career is the way we frustrated infiltration from Pakistan. You see, when I was Inspector General, Punjab frontier, and terrorism was at its peak. For Government of India, Punjab was the greatest challenge, the greatest problem they were facing.
So this was in which year?
It was 87 to 91.
87
I was
91.
4 years I was in Punjab. So I was, during that time, I was under tremendous pressure that you have to stop infiltration from Pakistan, because that is what is sustaining it. It was like this, that Mr. Gill would say, just for argument's sake, say shoot down 10 people, right? Those 10 were replaced by 10 from Pakistan, because the rural youth was crossing the border to Pakistan. They would be trained, they would be equipped, they would be brainwashed and pushed into India. So 10 were replaced by 10. So we were running on the spot. We were not making any progress. And I was under pressure. You must stop this movement across the border. And I was motivating all the battalions, the 40 battalions deployed across Punjab border. I was motivating. I knew my men are doing their very best, but you can't have a man at every inch of the border. There would be some distance between one picket and another. And during the dark nights, anyone could cross the border. And if you go to the Indo-Pakistan border, you don't feel it is a border. It's the same landmass. You have just placed some pillars here and there, that's all. Landmass is the same. There's no river, there's no geographical feature defining the boundary, like a river or a mountain range. So that was the problem. I was under tremendous pressure, and I also didn't know what to do. भाई हमारे आदमी जो कुछ हो सकता है सब कुछ कर रहे हैं, फिर भी नहीं हो पा रहा है. Because the terrorists were determined lot. They were determined to cross. They were determined to come back. Then I thought that no, I think somehow the idea of fencing came to my mind, that we need to fence the border. And those days were very, very ticklish for me, because somehow I was not getting full support from my own headquarters, for reasons nothing to do with my work.
What were the reasons? Why
I can't.
No support?
I can't. This is a departmental secret.
Okay.
So, but it had nothing to do with my work, but I was not getting support. So I knew that if I send this scheme to my headquarters, they will shoot it down. So I discussed the scheme directly with the governor, Siddharth Shankar Ray, with the governor. I said, sir, this is what we need to do. And I suggested that you may take it up with the government of India. He discussed it with Mr. Chidambaram. Chidambaram okayed it, yes. And then he told me that, Prakash, you prepare a scheme for this. Now, and a small committee, we constituted a small committee. Now we'll decide what should be the design of the fence. So there were 1 or 2 officers from my own department. I co-opted a brigadier from the army also. So there was army and BSF and CPWD combined. So we were just working on it then. Then suddenly it flashed my mind that international borders have been fenced in Korea and have been fenced US-Mexico border. So I said, why not get those? Let us get those.
Take the inspiration from there.
What kind of fence they have on the US-Mexico border or the North-South Korea border. I managed to get through my missions. We managed to get the designs of fence from both these countries. And then we evolved a design which was superior to both. I'm very proud of this. Because the fence design which we evolved, it was not my personal, but under my leadership by a committee which had army representatives, CPWD. We said, no, we will do this, we will do that. And then we agreed, and then we produced a framework which we knew it will be the best in the world on the day it is erected. So that design was approved, and then we went ahead with it. Initially, it was costly. I think initially it cost about 11 lakh per kilometer, but CPWD has its own method of working. They gradually escalated it to 19 lakhs per kilometer. That is something I could not do. It was between the CPWD and the government. The government said, no, don't bother with the expense. We have to fence the border. So that's how the Punjab border was fenced. But I said that no, fencing is not enough. Fencing has to be reinforced by the human chain, which is already there. So I told my Jawans, don't take fence for granted. कि अब तो हो गया. You're the second line. And we found that they acquired scissors, this big, about you can say 3 feet big scissors, and which would rip the fence as if like a knife running through butter.
Seriously?
Yes. So, but we were also, it was...
but is it true that every inch of land can be secured, can be protected?
On Punjab border, yes. Punjab border, yes. Not Kashmir.
Okay.
Not Northeast. We had the fence. Then we kept on improving the fence. We said, no, fence alone is not enough. I put claymore mines in between the 2 rows of fence. There were two barriers like this. In between, we put claymore mines. अगर आप फेंस कूद के अंदर गए तो वो बम फूटेगा, वहाँ पे आप मरे जाओगे. You see, there was a lot of improvisation. I believe in collective wisdom. I used to encourage कि बताओ और क्या किया जाए, और क्या किया जाए. I mean, one officer came with a very funny idea, but I implemented it. उनका सर ऐसा है जो बैलों को जो घंटी बनती है ना, उसको घंटी को बांध दीजिए जगह जगह पे, क्योंकि जब वो फेंस काटेंगे तो घंटी टंटनाएगी, उससे आवाज़ होगी. तो हमने वो भी बांध दिया. फिर somebody came up with a brilliant idea कि सर एक बिजली का तार लगा दीजिए, उसको इलेक्ट्रिकली चार्ज कर दीजिए रात को. Yes, good idea, although it would be illegal, पर मैंने कहा ये तो करना है सब कुछ. So before you could approach the fence, you had to cross that electrically charged wire. So we gave it name Cobra. Somehow Cobra name leaked out, and they would always say, "मैं उधर मत जाना, Cobra है." So they were scared of Cobra. कि Cobra में अगर हमारा पैर पड़ा तो फिर हम तो वहीं मरे. So we had a Cobra line, we had claymore mines, we have bell ki ghanti, and all kinds of improvisations were done. The net result was that crossing the fence was not impossible, but it became an extremely hazardous operation. Extremely hazardous operation where either you would get killed in the process of crossing the fence, or you will be shot down by the BSF, which would see that you are trying to cross the fence. So it became an extremely hazard proposition, and this is corroborated by intercepted documents. We intercepted documents signed by Vasant Singh Jafarwal, leader of one of the terrorist outfits, कि अब border cross करना बड़ा मुश्किल हो गया, बड़ा मुश्किल हो गया और जान का खतरा है. Now what happened? Now at the ground level, what happened? Earlier 10 were neutralized and they were replaced by 10. Now 10 were neutralized and they would be replaced by 2 or 3 or 1. So it became a law of diminishing returns. And now you are not running on the spot, you are running on the ground. And whatever results you were achieving in the hinterland were reflected in the overall terrorist situation of the state. The fence together with a whole lot, I have not given you all details. There were border tracks also, there were observation towers also.
Yeah, I can
concertina
imagine
choirs
a lot
also.
of efforts going
All
in.
that was happened. And there were flood lighting also. It was the best floodlit fence also. I remember when, after retirement, once I was flying from US to India, and the pilot said, "Sir, you can see the fence on the Punjab border." Of course, I had retired, but I saw that with a sense of great pride. कि देखो ये तुमने ये सब किया है, तुम्हारे leadership में सब काम हुआ. So this fence became a formidable obstacle which the terrorists were not able to deal with effectively, and it contributed very substantially to sort of extinguishing terrorism from Punjab. It was, as a writer would say, you cut off the supply of oxygen to terrorist movement in Punjab, and that is how the movement was given a
Yeah, I can see the happiness and
finishing,
pride with which you are speaking about
with
this.
finishing touches. And but for that, terrorism would still have been defeated, but then it would have taken another 10 years, and probably 2 more gills would have been needed. And whether the country had another gill and a third gill, that's a different matter.
So I have a small rapid fire section for you. So let's start with the questions. So technology or human intelligence? What matters more in border security?
Border security. I think both matter, and we need to, one should supplement the other. There should be no exclusive approach.
Okay. One reform you wish had happened sooner in Indian policing?
Insulation of police from external pressures, outside pressures, especially political pressure.
Got it. A book or a mentor that shaped your approach to law enforcement?
Law enforcement mentor. I have my mentor, my role model has been Swami Vivekanand. But in law enforcement, just to do the right thing has been my inspiration, and I can't think of any policeman who inspired me. But of course, I can name police officers who were excellent and who were role models, like Mr. Shravan Tandon, who trained me, J.N. Chaturvedi, who was Commissioner of Police Delhi and also DGP UP, Mr. J.F. Ribeiro, who is still there. We worked together in Punjab.
Yeah. A personal habit that helped you succeed?
Disciplined life.
Discipline, that's important. What's one strength of Indian police that often gets overlooked compared to foreign agencies?
Extreme hard work, overworked. We are a overworked police. We work more than I think police in any other country. The status of policing report produced by Common Cause, it says that an Indian policeman on an average works for 14 hours a day.
14 hours, and that's great.
And with no holidays.
Key lesson for young officers working in insurgency areas?
They should not shun difficult assignments, and they should accept the challenge of serving in insurgency areas and not seek early transfer from that. When I was sent to Punjab, a normal expectation was that after 2 years I'll come back. But they couldn't find my substitute, so I was there for 3 years. They could still not find my substitute, so they were there for 4 years. But then I never said, call me back. I never said, call me back. आपको मालूम है मैं यहाँ मेरा 3 साल हो गया, अब मुझे वापस बुलाना आपका काम है. If I say, आप कहिएगा अरे तुम अब डर रहे हो क्या? डरने की बात नहीं है, टेन्योर होता है.
So finally, an advice to the next generation of IPS officers?
They should look upon police service as a medium to serve the society. I mean, this is what motivated me and this is what kept me going throughout. At the start of my career, more than once I thought of resigning. But as I started climbing up the ladder, I said, look, I'm a district superintendent of police. Now there are 14 lakh people. Their happiness, their welfare, I can sort of augment that if my men perform their duties properly. I can contribute to their happiness. I can contribute to the welfare, and this is I'll be doing social service to 16 lakh people. As an individual, I will probably help 2 or 3 or 5 or 10. I looked upon police service, police department or police service as an instrument of service to the people.
Yeah,
And
that's
that
true.
motivated me and that kept me going. And as a service to the people, while serving in the state and in the border security force, in the central police organization, I found a great opportunity to serve the country. In Punjab, I served the country and I contributed to national security in a manner that I am proud of to this day.
That's true. That's true. This is that. So really, thank you for your story has been truly an inspiring story all throughout. I read your books, and now after having a conversation with you, it is truly inspiring story throughout your life and the professional career that you have built. Thank you so much for joining this.
Thank you.